So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution.
Today we're going to be talking about something that's kind of outside my realm of knowledge, but it's something that I really want to cover. It's important. It's still HR, and it affects your benefits, your medical insurance. So let's get right into it. And again, it's not something I knew a whole lot about before researching this. So there is the Mental Health Parity Act of 1996, and in this act, insurers, group health plans are required to uh, treat mental health the same or similar to medical and surgical benefits. And so you're supposed to have parity there with respect to limits. And that that these requirements were extended in 2008 and included substance abuse as well. And what this act did in 1996 was require these health plans that offer group health insurance, that it required that those plans ensure that financial requirements and treatment limitations are the same and no more restrictive than medical or surgical benefits. I honestly didn't know. It kind of makes sense. I guess I didn't know that this was in existence. But and I imagine if I was in comp and benefits in 96, I probably would have. This requirement, along with requirements to have comparable aggregate lifetime and dollar limits, is required that requires that mental health and substance abuse be at parity or in parity with medical and surgical. This was updated multiple times, 2010 with the ACA, in 2021, where they were required to do comparative analyses, as well as the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023. So, again, very interesting. Didn't know that insurers were required to do this. But they're making some changes to the policy, and that's where I wanted to talk today. So there's a proposed rule across several branches of the government or several departments of the government that is being proposed, which requires access parity, meaning that they can use their benefits. It's required that individuals can use their benefits in parity with medical and surgical. That they're going to update the definitions with respect to mental health benefits. Curious on what that looks like and what that'll be. I mean, are they going to use the DSM? How does that work? They're going to, in addition, they're going to have the requirement to impose NQTLs. And I had to do a little bit of research on NQTLs. An NQTL is a non-quantitative treatment limitation, and that's really sort of the basis of this act, right? Is the limitations that insurers put with respect to coverage, and the fact that you can have non-quantitative and quantitative treatment limitations. Well, these involve the non-quantitative. In addition, there's going to be outlining the NTQL compliance processes and codifying the requirements with respect to with a requirement that a plan or issuer imposes any limitations on mental health must perform and document comparative analysis of the design and application of all the limitations with respect to medical, et cetera, et cetera. So this is an interesting change that's coming, potentially coming down the pipeline. So it's being thrown out there for comments. This is pretty common. The proposed rule would put a bunch of new responsibilities on plans and issuers that would require revisions. Um, it would mean that these plans and issuers would have to review their coverage policies to make sure that they're up to date, that they meet the new content requirements, make their comparative analyses available, and then provide all enrolled participants a standalone notice stating whether or not they're in compliance with the overall act itself or not. And those are all slightly burdensome. I imagine that this will require perhaps a department of people or an extra person to make sure that these benefit plans are at parity. Of course, that will add new costs because if you're not meeting that, it'll add new regulatory costs to your healthcare, right? Because you have to have a person or a group of people to ensure that that parity is being met if it can't be automated. In addition, if it's not being met, then either your treatment will get worse, the medical and surgical treatment will get worse in order to be at parity, or mental health coverage will be more expensive, or more have more coverage, and as a result, likely more expensive. The ultimate outcome of this, of course, is that your health plan price will go up. They're going to have to collect a lot of data, including out-of-network utilization, percentage of in-network providers actively submitting claims, time and distance standards to make sure that there's parity with respect to access, as well as reimbursement. There's going to be quite a lot of requirements in getting this going forward to making sure that the coverages are at parity. Overall, this is a really good thing for mental health. This is a really good thing for making sure that we take care of people on a complete level. And I value this sort of legislation quite a bit. Of course, this will mean that our insurances will get more expensive and that those insurers will continue to pass down to the customers and actually more specifically the government, which we will all also pay for. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you have any opinions? I think that this is a fairly straightforward thing. I think that generally speaking, this is a great step forward for mental health, but the new costs that come with it are just stacked on top of the old costs. See you tomorrow. Have a great one. Bye.